This time we're going to be looking at the Game Boy port of WWF Raw. This is one of the LJN games that started on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis and then was eventually brought to Nintendo's handheld. I really don't like this game at all. I didn't like the versions that were on the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, and this one is considerably worse than those. There's very few redeeming qualities about this game at all. So there's no storyline for this game, which shouldn't surprise anyone. This is basically an arcade experience. There's nothing wrong with that if it's done well. Unfortunately, it's not done well here. You have 8 wrestlers, you have a handful of game modes, and yeah, it's just not very good. I didn't like the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis game because they just devolved into button mashing. This one is very much the same, except for so much worse. So there are 3 game modes to start out with. You have a one-on-one match, a tag team match, and then a Survivor Series match. From there, it breaks down into whether you want to do a match from one fall, or if you want it to be a brawl where there's no countouts. And then you can also do the tournament mode, which is more like a gauntlet match that you would see in a fighting game. Nothing wrong with this. It's a little bit more than what you might expect for a Game Boy game, so you do have quite a few different modes that you can torture yourself by playing this on, because you're going to be smashing the buttons over and over again to the point where you're probably going to get carpal tunnel or just absolutely destroy your hand. The controls are horrible. I didn't like the controls in the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis game. Here, they're just absolutely awful. You can punch and kick, you can do the lockups, and then you can do the really terrible tug-of-war battle system that they have for you to try to do one of the moves. It's just not worth it. Nothing in here feels good. It's just a very bad game. It's incredibly annoying. Every wrestler has essentially the same moves. There's very little variety in it. And it's just absolutely terrible. You can go to the outside and fight if you really want to. And I really recommend going online to look up what the controls are, because this game, it's really, really rough. Even when I was in the position to pin somebody, the game was just not letting me do it. So you have to press A and B when you're over the midsection of your opponent. And when I tried to do this, more often than not, I just picked the fucker up. So I have no idea what the hell is going on with this. It's like the moves come out whenever the game feels like letting you do them. Nothing in here is good. It's just a very bad experience. The nicest thing that I can say about this is that it is playable. I'm not sure why anyone would want to play it, but at least you can play it. The cartridge, starts up. The controls sort of work at times, but nothing is good in this. I think the graphics are probably the best part about this. They're not amazing, but they're pretty good for a Game Boy game. I think the crowd looks really good, even if they are just a static image. I think some of the pictures of the wrestlers look very good for what they are. Way better than some of the other wrestling games that I played for this. And yeah, the move animations look okay when they do happen. I don't think there's anything really horrible about the visuals. It's a Game Boy game. You shouldn't really expect it to be amazing. Just, it just has to be better than, Ring Rage. Anything had to be better than that. And this managed to achieve being better than Ring Rage when it comes to the graphics. Like a lot of the LJN games, they used basically 2 sprites for this. One for Yokozuna and then one for everyone else. And the one for everyone else got some graphical changes so you can kind of tell people apart. Thankfully, they all have their names attached to them, so you have a vague idea of who is who in this. They look better than some of the other LJN games, but it's, again, a very low bar for this thing to get over. The graphics are definitely not the worst part of the game, but they're definitely not as good as some of the other games on the Game Boy. This is just a bad port of a game that I already don't like. The controls are worse than the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis versions, the graphics are worse as well, but they're not the worst part of this game. That would definitely be the controls. This game does have a few things going for it. I do like the number of game modes in here, so there's that. You can, torture yourself with more of this game if you really want to, but I hope to God that you don't. The roster is alright, but yeah, the gameplay just absolutely kills it. There's no reason to go back and play this unless you're doing a retrospective on all the Game Boy wrestling games, and if you're not doing that, stay the hell away from this one. Just play the console versions if you really want to see what WWF Raw was like, because this is just a terrible representation of what that game is. Anyway, that's going to wrap things up. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.